Hello, hello, and it's the trail end of a Thanksgiving weekend, and I've got another night off, so time to do a beer review on a seasonal beer that I've been drinking when I can get it since the 90s when it first came out, and that would be Sierra Nevada's Celebration Ale. They release this from October to December. It usually has like a Christmas motive to it, you know, the colors and such. And what's to say about this? It's good beer. It has been in the past. Every year this beer is a little bit different. I haven't had this yet this year, so I've been holding off until just after Thanksgiving, which passed 2 days ago. So it's time to check this beer out. And I got my bohemian garb on. I added to it. I gotta have some fun. I had a very good day today. Very good day. Visited my family, grandson, children. Had dinner with my daughter. I had a good day today. So, back home to do a beer review for you. Okay, what do they say about this beer? Celebration IPA. I'll read their blip on it. But people, I've read other reviews of this beer, and there are people like myself that just wait for it to come out, and they, comment it's better than last year's, or it's, they compare it. They've been drinking this since the 90s, like myself, around the holidays, because that's the only time it's available. Celebration IPA, fresh hop IPA. Freshly picked hops, rushed from farm to brewery. Fill Celebration IPA with powerful citrus and pine flavors. When you're on the slopes with friends or building a backyard campfire for the family, you need a beer as fresh as fallen snow. Pure hops balanced with rich caramel malt make this celebration a celebration in every sip. This weighs in at 6.8% alcohol by volume and a pretty hefty 65 IBUs for bitterness. So there is a lot of hops in this. On the other side, it's got almost 20 grams of carbs in a can and 223 calories per can and 1.5 grams of protein. They use caramelized malts, and obviously, but they use 2-row in this. Ale yeast, the hops they use are the same they've used every year, just a different year. And hops are like grapes. You have good years, bad years, vintage years, I would say. They use Cascade hops, Centennial hops, and Chinook hops. Every year for over 4 decades, we've made the journey to the Pacific Northwest to hand select the best Cascade Centennial hops for IPA. Once the hops are picked, the countdown begins as we race the harvest home. Our goal, capture the citrus, pine, and floral notes at their absolute peak. We think these aromas and flavors will make the perfect holiday beer to start the celebration. And I have to agree with them. I actually grew hops years ago and used them in my brewing. And fresh hops are quite a difference, honestly, freshly picked. And I had good luck with that, success with that. Maybe someday I'll get back into that. I don't know. All right, so here it is. Let's see what it's all about this year. It's very cold. I had it in my fridge, and then I put it in my freezer for about 30 minutes. All right, so to the beer. I like the can. I gotta tell you right off the bat, the packaging appeals to me. Packaging does. I think the packaging actually helps sell a beer, quite frankly, and they've got it down. So Their brewery is, by the way, originally it was in Chico, California. It still is there. Sierra Nevada Brewery has expanded out. They're now in South Carolina. Something. Yeah, I forgot the town. You can look it up. They've got a brewery in South Carolina now as well, if you're interested. So they're a West Coast beer, but they've gone East Coast as well. All right, so I'll tell you what I think of this. Give you my honest opinion of it. I haven't been, believe it or not, drinking a whole lot of beer lately because I've been working 7 nights a week for a while. And I was actually sick. Quite sick for a while. I smell, I got foam in my nose. I don't smell much of anything, but I'm a little bit congested. No, I don't smell anything. All right, maybe I will once I pour it. All right. Oh, it's a good dark orange. Orange. Aren't you glad I'm not telling any knock-knock jokes? Knock-knock, who's there? Orange. Orange who? Aren't you glad I'm not telling any more knock-knock jokes? It's orange. Pumpkin colored. Got a pretty nice head. Fine head on it. I still can't smell it. I'm stuffed up, sorry. Sniffer's not working. I'm a bit congested. You know I like to look at my beer. Kind of a muddy orange, honestly. I mean, my favorite color for an ale is this color. I really like an ale that is reddish orange. And this one is a bit murky, but I like it still. The head is sticking right in there, which is good. All right, I can't smell it, but here we go. Good, it's good. It's good, it's good. First impression, good. I would say I get a sweetness, initially a sweetness in the front, and it finished off with a medium of bitterness, citrusy bitterness, hops bitterness. In the middle towards the back, nothing overpowering. At 65 IBUs, that's quite a bit. It's very well balanced, honestly. Oh, got a lot of carbonation in it. You know, I ask myself, why are you dressing up like this? You know, at any age, right? I told my son I bought a pirate shirt. And he says, what for? Because I met with my two of my sons today, and my daughter did a bit of driving. I said, for my beer reviews, and he thought that was awesome. I said, yeah, I bought a pirate shirt. I'm going to wear it for my beer reviews. Why not? I've got to have some fun, you know what I mean? I work a lot, so this is my idea of fun. Well, fun actually was today meeting with all my children, honestly, which was wonderful. And my grandson, I gave him a metal detector today. That was a hit. I could tell it's a hit. So, it's pretty good. I wish I could comment on the aroma because I'm sure it has a lot, but I've been a bit congested. What's new? And I got some lacing. Look at, there's a little bit of lacing on the side of this mug. Not bad. Its appearance is good. Appearance is very good. The orange is a little muddy, but that's really nothing, not a big deal. It's got good lacing. The head is holding up pretty good on this. Very fine, frothy head. Celebration Ale. I'll tell you, after tonight, I'm going to be on a work marathon right up to Christmas. I don't plan to take a single day off. I have my plans. My plans require a little funding. And I've got a little side hustle going on. It's side hustle, a side job. And they call it a side hustle. It's a side hustle. Side hustle. Sounds like I'm doing something shady or dishonest. But everybody calls a side job or another, got a little way to bring in some extra income, a side hustle. Got a side hustle. Well, honestly, I will tell you, for those of you that watch my Christian channel, which I think most of you, if you're watching this review at all, I took some time off and my viewers dropped substantially. Oh well, in the real world, I gotta work. I'm not making money off these videos. The Christian ones, they're not monetized. My son asked me today if my channel's monetized. No. I said, it's a stretch for people to believe my stories as it is. I talk about the angels and demonic attack and ghosts and all kinds of things. I said, it's a stretch to expect people to believe my experiences, my testimony. If it was monetized, it would be easier for people to think I'm just making this stuff up. I've never made any of this stuff up on my channel. None of it. Unless I've got a fiction book. I haven't read that yet. I might do a reading of that book. It's called Moonlight on Open Graves. The only reason I haven't done a reading of that book is there's two or three women parts in it, actually 3 or 4. It's a 365-page novel. And I think I just feel kind of corny reading the women's parts, but I asked maybe my daughter's going to collaborate with me on, one of the characters is based on my daughter, actually. But yeah, the channel's not monetized. But like I told my son today, I just trust God. If God wants to pay me for my work of telling the good news about His Son, Jesus Christ, and my life testimony, well, you know what? I got paid because with the camera gear I'm making this video with now, and the editing software that I've learned to use, I started making these reviews, Amazon reviews for their products, and I'm honest about it. It's nothing shady. I've got things I'd say, let's review that, and I say, no, it's a piece of garbage. I can't recommend it. But if I got something that I heartily recommend, I'll write a review for it, or make a video review. And Amazon Influencer Program, you have to have a social media account, and I do, my YouTube channel. And so I qualified for it, and they accepted me in it. And I'm making some good money off that. It's really starting to come in. So, praise God. My side hustle. This beer, if you like IPA, this is a good one. This is still among my top 5 beers. I'd say it's in my top 5. I'm thinking different beers I really like. I would have to add this to it. Very good. Very, very good. Refreshing. I think it's because of the fresh hops. It does, I can tell the difference. And they claim that they watch their hops yards. I've grown hops, like I said, and they come into season and they're very susceptible to blight and all kinds of pests. The hops come into season and they give off they get yellowy, like a yellow powder on them, which is the stuff that lupulins. It gives the bitterness and the aroma to beer. And so there's people that really watch those carefully. And when they're at their peak, supposedly these people rush to harvest and then get them to the brewery as fast as they can so they can brew with the freshest hops possible. And I have every reason to believe that they do that because I've done that on a small level and was pleased with the results. And I dare say this is a good example of that. Now granted, I paid $12 or $13 for a 6-pack of this, which is quite reasonable today. Everything's more expensive today, isn't it? Except oxygen. Very good. Simon Pierce mug. I love these. I collect these. I've had so many of these. Simon Pierce tankards. They're made in Vermont and handmade, obviously, by Simon Pierce, an Irish immigrant who has a glass studio in Vermont somewhere. And these things aren't cheap. But these are the best, I'll tell you. They're never, ever put these in hot water or dishwasher. You stand a very good chance of losing your beer mug. Cold wash only or lukewarm at most. But they are definitely a good mug. This is good beer. What else can I say? I'd like to comment on the aroma, but I'm not smelling much right now. I can't. I'm sure it's got a lot of aroma, but I don't smell it. The appearance is good. It's got a medium mouthfeel. It's not a light beer, but it's not a heavy, hard to drink beer either. It's very good. You see the lacing? The lacing gives you an idea of the body of the beer, the protein in it, which protein would give a beer body and contribute to the lacing, I think. I brewed beer years ago, but I read everything I could I really studied brewing like a science. I brewed beer with this guy in Vermont at a local brewer's. My son and I used to take a ferry from Plattsburgh, New York, across Lake Champlain. A little ferry boat, take about 30 minutes, get across the lake, and we'd land in Burlington, Vermont. And we'd walk to this brick building that sold brewing supplies. And every Saturday, a group of guys about my age, about 30-ish, we'd all meet up there and we'd talk about brewing. And the guy that was the head of that brewers meeting at the time has a very successful brewery going. His number one selling beer is Fiddleback IPA. It's a very good beer. And he's doing very well for himself by the looks of things. He's got a nice place in Vermont now, like a restaurant, brewery, ski slope, trails in the mountains. He's doing very well for himself. Good for him. But back in the day, when I knew this guy somewhat, I dare say I could brew beer just as well as he could at that time. That would have been the early 90s. I could definitely hold my own with him on that. I was a good brewer. I think I was a very good brewer. If I'd had the means, I probably could have been very successful opening my own brewery. Wasn't meant to be. You know, if I'd done the brewery, I probably wouldn't have done this channel. You know, the paths we take in life. It's been my honor to tell my testimony on YouTube to whoever would hear it. I know I'm doing a beer review, but I think most of you who watch this are Christians who like my Christian spiritual stuff. And I've got to tell you, it's been the greatest joy of my life sharing with people God's greatness. Greatest joy. It's the greatest joy I think you can experience is to share of God's greatness to others. It's definitely something you want to experience. If God has done anything for your life, I'm sure He has, and you tell somebody about that, and make sure you give Him the credit. When you tell somebody about, I got through this situation, and this is what happened, and give God the credit. God, He worked it out, and you'll see that you'll get a really good spiritual high. And I'm not one, there are some Christians that I think they just want the spiritual high, which is great feeling. I see this in a lot of charismatic churches that I've attended, where people love to get all swept up in it, in the spirit, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think there's also a place for quiet solitude, humility, and to take some time and humble yourself quietly. Teach their own. I've done a lot of driving today. I've been on the road for probably 5-6 hours. Visited with everybody. Got home. Gotta go back to work tonight. Tomorrow night, tonight, whichever. Just gonna take it easy. I wanted to do this beer review. This year's Celebration IPA is very good. It's good every year, and this year is no exception. So, if you've had this beer before and you liked it, it's very good this year. If you haven't had this beer, get some. I'm sure they sell it. If you're in America, you can get it. They've got it pretty well covered. They've got the East Coast and the West Coast. So maybe if you're in the very center of America, maybe the distribution doesn't reach you. All right, well, there you have it. Very good.